foreign editor at the Australian, Greg Sheridan. Well, what do you make of the latest developments, Greg?
Great to be with you, Peter, and welcome back. Look, it's a bad move by Trump. I think Trump's constant, unstable tariff announcements, most of which are not ever implemented, destabilises global trade, destabilises corporate investment, damages America's reputation, and he doesn't have any consideration for allies. But it begs this question of the Albanese government. Two things you'd want from an Australian government. You'd want them to use their wonderful insider access to Trump, based on all of our fabulous associations with America, to get the best deal you possibly could. And you'd want them to have a high productivity, high growth, fabulous economic strategy for Australia. Well, the Albanese government just fails dismally on both. And the pharmaceuticals, even our pharmaceutical exports aren't that big, about $2 billion to America. But they're one of the very few areas where we can actually manufacture anything in Australia in our high-cost, super red tape, massively uncompetitive environment. They're one of the few things we can actually manufacture and do so competitively, and it would be a tragedy if they got hit with these tariffs. God knows if Trump will ever implement them.
The PM's off to Beijing and Chengdu and Shanghai, 3 cities on the visit, so it says to me it's a substantial state visit. He heads off on Saturday. The Chinese wanted on the trade table artificial intelligence and a relaxation of our foreign investment laws. The Prime Minister says we're not going to talk about either of them. What are you looking for out of this visit? Because it seems we're far more welcome in Beijing than our Prime Minister might be in Washington.
Yeah, so I think this might be the longest single visit to any one country Albanese has made as Prime Minister. I think the optics of that are bad. I don't think Australia generally handles China policy very well. The Albanese government has completely reversed itself on its rhetoric from its first year in office. It used to tell us these were the most dangerous strategic times we'd ever faced since World War II. The only strategic danger was China. It won't say anything about that now. It just rolls over and, lets its tummy be tickled and says kumbaya to China. It is a good thing that Albanese has ruled out the artificial intelligence stuff and reviewing the Foreign Investment Review Board. Now, if he hadn't ruled that out, that would be absurd. The idea of an artificial intelligence agreement with China, which is the chief source of cyber attack and state espionage and commercial espionage against Australia, would be completely insane. So Albanese has lived up to the mere basic level of sanity. It's weird that Albanese gave such an anti-American speech just before he heads off to China. Not only can't he get a meeting with Trump, it's not clear to me he wants to go to Washington to have a meeting. He'd just like an informal thing in the corridors. I just think Albanese is, reverting to type to what he really believed. All of the hawkish stuff he used to say, I think, was just what he felt he had to say to win an election. And here we are back with the real Albanese, who doesn't take the China threat business seriously and has never had a serious thought in his head ever about national security.
Pretty tough, but I have to say I'll agree with you. And I think you're right. I think he just wants to pull aside in the margins of a global event. So, nothing much will come of it. He can tick the box. He can come back to the media and tell you, tell me, tell everybody that he's had his meeting and to bugger off, we shouldn't keep asking questions. But it's not about relationship building.
That's right. That's right. No, I mean, if he thinks he has a relationship with Xi Jinping, that's nonsense. I mean, the Australian Prime Minister who spent most time with Xi Jinping was Tony Abbott, and Tony Abbott did a very good job on foreign policy when he was Prime Minister, but that relationship didn't result in anything. I mean, China does what it wants, what it thinks is in its benefit.
Absolutely.
Peter, I wonder if I can have a very quick word on a topic we did schedule, but I don't know if we've got time for. Miles has suggested he might sack.
No, I will get to that, Greg, because this worries me.
Okay.
I'll get to this because I'll just bring people in at home because I think this really does worry me. There's talk he's going to sack a whole lot of people out of the senior ranks of not just the Defence Department, so not just the public servants, but a whole lot of uniformed senior ADF officers and commanders. How much of this is serious reform that is needed? I mean, I like small government, not big government. Or is this about a scapegoating because the government's in strife over defence? What do you think?
Well, Peter, the government is deservedly in strife, and it is responsible for the colossal mess and cock-up of defence. Absolutely. It's the government, it's responsible. However, I do think any shake-up of the senior defence people is long overdue and devoutly to be wished. When the Albanese government was first elected, I thought their original sin, their first big mistake, was just to reappoint all the senior leadership of the Defence Department and the military. So they're all good people, they're patriotic people, I've got nothing against any of them individually. But the bottom line is this: Defence has failed time after time after time, both the uniformed folks and the Department of Defence, and all that ever happens is they all get promoted. The only person who ever takes responsibility in defence is a rank of corporal or below. Nobody above corporal ever takes responsibility for anything. There's been an insane explosion of star-ranked officers at the senior level, all doing nothing, sitting around in committees. There's no clear line of responsibility anywhere. When we first got friendly with Cambodia after the overthrow of the Pol Pot and so on, we found that there were 2,000 generals in the Cambodian army, and that was the first reform suggestion we made, was to sack all the generals. Well, the Australian military is like that now. We've got more starred officers per fighting soldier than I think we've ever had in our history. Now, I would like the whole lot of them just to go away, because if you were governed by the first 10 pages of the Sydney phone book, you couldn't do worse than our defence organisation has done in the last 10 years. Bring people in from private enterprise. If the top echelon of defence is no good, reduce the size of the echelon by about 90%, promote the second echelon, give them very clear responsibilities, and let's go. I mean, we keep saying we're going to buy off-the-shelf equipment, we're not going to modify it, and yet every time you get a fiasco like the Hunter frigates where Defence somehow or other buys an experiment, a not yet in production ship and then modifies it to within an inch of its life. And these Hunter frigates, each one of these ridiculous Hunter frigates is going to cost more than it costs to build a Virginia-class submarine. They're going to be wildly undergunned, and we're not going to get any of them for 10 years. I mean, or nearly 10 years. This is madness. Now, if that level of performance doesn't justify clearing out the whole corporate leadership, the whole lot of them, and trying something new, I don't know what does. So Miles deserves all the blame for the mess we've had over the last 3 years. But if he cleaned out the upper echelons of defence, military and civilian, I'd be very happy about that.
I think I would agree with you at that score. I tell you what, I'd like him to sack himself on the way out, though. But we'll see if that happens. Greg Sheridan, thank you.